I'm Gabby, and I'll be talking about tuition-free public universities. What if I told you all that college education could be free in the United States? As college students, we're constantly trying to find a way to pay our education and our other bills. Some of us do receive financial aid, but it can be very scarce, and most of us take out a large amount in loans to pay for the education. More importantly, college students are pressured into paying their tuition and fees bill on time. For example, at Cal Poly Pomona, if a student whose financial aid does not fully cover their tuition and fees and does not pay on the post deadline, then the student will receive a hold on their account. They will not be allowed to register for classes until all fees are paid. This can result in the student not receiving the desired classes or not being able to register until the next term. This brings me to my main claim. Tuition-free public universities have a positive impact on students. In the next few minutes, I'll explain my claim through three main points that support it. First point, while many students in the U.S. Stress about paying our tuitions and fees, there are students in foreign countries that have the luxury that they get their education paid for. Some of these countries include France, Finland, Germany, Denmark, Sweden, and many more. Some of these governments will cover the entire cost of college education, meaning tuition, materials, and housing. This leaves the graduates with zero loans and ready to begin their careers. Business Insider, a newspaper article, asked 4 students what it was like to have free education. A student from Germany claims that tuition is paid for by the government, but pays around $600 in fees every semester. The student says that he has friends who studied in the United States and United Kingdom. And all 3 of friends were sitting down talking about educations, and they realized that they have the same high education, but the only difference is that the German student paid $600 for his education, while the other students paid many more for their. However, in Denmark, a student says that her education is completely free, and she only worries about buying books. She says that free college education is helpful because she does not worry about repaying loans, and it gives everyone an equal chance to pursue the degree of their choice without having to see college as a huge economic investment. This brings me to my second point. Tuition-free universities will not limit a student's decision in their college education, meaning students will have the freedom of picking a degree and university of their choice without worrying about the cost of tuition. They will have more options in deciding what school to attend to they'll have more options in deciding what school to attend to, and they can attend to out-of-state schools, and they can even try considering studying abroad as an option. Some careers, such as tuition-free public universities, can also encourage a student to pick a career of their choice. Some careers, such as engineers, nursing, business, and architecture, can be more expensive because they will be charged more in tuition. According to HuffPost, the University of Illinois charged business majors 42% more than the in-state tuition, and art majors were charged $1,600 more than their in-state tuition. Therefore, if a student is already paying more in tuition and has to pay for material expenses, it will disencourage the students from pursuing their desired career. Without worrying about tuition, the students will be able to pursue what they do and what they like doing. Lastly, my last point is tuition-free public universities will encourage people to attend college. Like mentioned before, parents can see college education as an economic investment. Therefore, some students will not attend college because they are unable to afford it, or they simply do not want to worry about student loans. According to College Directive, the average student loans is about $37,000. Therefore, it disencourages people from pursuing a higher education such as bachelor's and master's. A tuition-free public university will encourage low-income students to attend and finish college. Many low-income students actually drop out or take part-time statuses or take a break from school because they're unable to pay throughout the 4 years of their education. According to San Diego Union Tribune, the average Cal State 4-year graduation rate is 19%. Cal Poly Pomona actually scored 18%, and nationally it is 34%. By having tuition free, it will encourage low-income students to finish their college education. Tuition-free universities will also have an increase in enrollment. Like mentioned before, Germany, they do free education, and when they first practiced this, they noticed that the following year their enrollment rates increased by 20%. Having tuition-free universities will also create more well-educated workforce, a population that has better critical thinking skills that will lead to more innovation in all areas of society. By eliminating tuition costs, students will no longer drown in loan debt and will be able to focus more on school. Students already worry about passing their classes, having a good GPA, and finding jobs after graduating. Paying tuition costs should not be another stress on college students. College education shouldn't be an economic investment. It should be an investment for our future without leaving us penniless. Thank you.
Okay, Gabby, the proposition's clear. You spell out what the supporting points are going to be. The notion of tuition-free college, I think, needs to be contrasted to the costs that are incurred by students currently, and you do a little bit of that. You had the best piece of information that you had was what the average student ends up owing in loans as a result of this. But there are a lot of inferences made from that notion that I think need a little bit more proof, because you suggest that people would drop out or that they don't pursue higher degrees and they don't complete their studies because of the costs. But none of those things are documented, and it seems like it's kind of a presupposition that you're building into the argument simply because of the amount of money that they are going to owe in that particular situation. The first point is mostly dependent on an interview with 4 students who go to various universities in different parts of the world, and that's nice information, and some of it is generic about those schools, but it's awfully hard to draw an inference based on what these 4 people had. I don't know what the loan rate is in other colleges and universities. I do know that, because I've heard debates on this issue before, that there are still loans that are involved in going to some of these schools, and it's just merely how much the loans are or how they're paid off. So there is some question about whether or not your information on that first point is sufficient to address that particular point. The third point, I imagine everybody who goes to school here loves the idea of encouraging more people to attend the college, because that'll make it easier to get a place to park. The graduation rate one I thought was kind of interesting, but the notion that that was linked to what people had to pay, that I think is what's a little bit problematic. I think there needs to be some stronger evidence that shows that that's the case. All right. There's a lot of reading in the presentation, but it's, like I said, pretty well organized, and you do have information on most of the points. Some of it could be a little bit stronger here and there. All right. Thank you. I'm going to mention one other thing here, just as in passing, because I'm trying to be patient with folks. I glanced around a couple of times while Gabby was speaking, and there are people who are using their social media, they're on their phones doing that kind of thing. Look, when I'm talking, you pay your money, you can decide what you want to do, that's your business. But when your classmates are talking, it's tough. It's awfully hard to work on a speech, get up and give it to an audience that acts indifferent to what is going on in front of them. And you need to be supportive of your classmates, please. So I'm going to ask again that people kind of refrain from using that technology while your classmates are speaking. And I'm going to try, like I said, I'm being pretty moderate at the moment. Next time I could scream. You don't want to hear that. That's not any fun. Thank you.